And again, the purpose of this show is to really help empower others to be able to give others an opportunity to know that there's hope beyond whatever circumstances that you may be facing, and to provide some insight or some different tools every week that can help you in whatever aspect of life you're in, whatever phase, whatever you're going through right now. And I feel it's really important for us to have something like this because oftentimes, sometimes in our inner circle, we don't have the ability to maybe see things in a different perspective, or the ability to hear different things beyond what we're exposed to. So I feel with the opportunities today with having media to have, you know, different resources, now you can really take a lot of other things that you couldn't before and really apply them into your life by using different techniques that may have not been available before that you can actually utilize right now. And that's the purpose of this. And along with that, we do have different things that you can look and expand on if you wanted to go more into your particular situation. So we'll be discussing that on the next show. But today it's kind of just a time to see where things are, you know, where that you need to take inventory of your life to see the things that you've actually been stating, and what is it that you've been stating, what is it that you've been having conversations about, and has that come to fruition, has it actually manifested in your life, or are there certain things that you're just saying and claiming that you're going to do, but you don't actually put the action and the intention or the critical thing behind it. I think that in life and just in general, that it's important to always have an intention of everything that you're creating or doing, even intention for something as small as, like, maybe you're going to a dinner party or a gathering of somewhere and you don't come in with an intention, then you may miss something that was there for you to see. And sometimes, you know, it's okay to just flow with things and not, you know, always be intentional. But what I've seen is I've tried it both ways. I've tried to be very intentional, and then I've tried to also let go and just be in the moment of things and, you know, just flow with it. And what I'm seeing is that there are two different experiences when you're coming from each aspect, and it has its pros and its cons. And I feel that if you can incorporate a little bit of both into them, then you would actually benefit from both sides. And what I mean by that is that you do have some kind of intention that you're creating. Maybe it's not so rigid, but you have, you know, a general thing of what you'd like to to get, you know, from whatever event or something that you're attending, or even if it's just like gathering with friends, and maybe there is nothing to like actually gain, but just like catching up on certain things that maybe you weren't able to catch up on. That's still coming with an intention, versus like if you just allow to flow and not really having anything in mind, then sometimes you may miss like the information there that, you know, was pertinent in front of you. And as you start doing more personal development stuff in your life, you start seeing things in a very different aspect. But as you're growing and working on yourself, sometimes there's other things that can block you, or noise or filters, or, you know, our own conversations that don't allow us to see what may be there. And I know that for myself personally, that as I've grown through the last 5 years, that I've seen things that could be the same situation in so many different ways, depending on where I was in my journey. And now, if you ask me like how I see that same situation, it would be viewed very different. Well, that's because, you know, you have different levels of awareness that you actually are tapping into when you're going into your intuitive self, when you're taking the time to really go within and see what is there that maybe you were not able to see before. I think when you're a results driven person, as I am myself, that sometimes it's very hard to see things that could be right there, because you're very intentional of, you know, having a certain outcome. And if something else is blocking you or standing your way from that outcome, you pretty much, like I know for myself, kind of brush it to the side or don't even want to deal with it because it's going to take you off your end goal. So I wanted to try something new and something that would, allow me to develop myself in a very different way. And that's kind of what I've been doing the last couple of years, is seeing if I don't have those intentional purposes, if I really just flow with things, and if I really just allow things to be, what is the other outcome going to be? And I can tell you that seeing both sides of it now, I would really say that you have to have a balance of both. You have to be able to be intentional for what you actually are trying to create, but then you also have to be allowed to adjust and flow and be able to navigate through redirections of things or things looking a different way. I know that sometimes when you're looking at a certain situation, that you may see it in one viewpoint, but when you actually brainstorm and you have other people there and have their ideas, you may see that same situation in a very different aspect. Same thing can apply for business or anything, but that's why it's really critical to come in with an intention of what you're trying to create, but then also be allowed to, you know not be so rigid, because you'll be able to see things that you would not be able to see before, and then basically take a step back. I feel that it's really important for us to do that, because when we go into the reflective stage for different aspects of our life, that we get to see the same situation in a different way, or maybe somebody says the same exact thing what somebody's been telling you all these years, but for whatever reason you can hear it different. I've also seen different things like that, like, oh wait, somebody's told me that before, how come I didn't listen before? You know what, okay, there was something that the way it was said, or maybe the tone it was said, or who that person represented, of how I heard them in life, like, was going to show up a different way. So sometimes you get the same message in one week from different people, but it's like, are you really attuned to hearing what the message is? And I know for myself, last week when I was looking at the reflective work of kind of seeing my week, I was like, oh wow, there's three different people telling me the same exact thing in their own way. And am I really listening? Am I willing to stand out of my way of, maybe letting go of certain ways of how I think should be, or the aspect of how things are being said to me? And why is it that these three people are bringing the same exact example in my life for me to review? Is it because I'm not listening, or is it something like that I need to see for myself? Of why is it that maybe I listen to one person of however the tone is, or what they're saying, or who they represent, but I wouldn't hear it the same way? I'd ask you to do the same for your life, because you'll see, if you start taking that reflective stage in your life and really start sitting and hearing what the different conversations are that are being said, it's pretty much a similar dialogue that's being said in many different ways, in different forms. And it's almost like, depending on what phase you are in your life, it's like the message is pretty much the same. But it's very much like, when you're not in a space to hear it, or when you're very intentional about a different outcome, or intentional about, like, that's not an aspect of my life that I want to focus on right now, you may miss like how that particular, I'd say, lesson or clue or different dialogue that was there was actually something that was there like 3-4 years ago, that if you had listened to, maybe there'd be a different outcome. And I want to say that because I think that this is the year that is almost going to be wrapped up. I mean, we're going to be hitting November, December, and to think, like, January's right around the corner, and to see where January started off this year for many people, and where we are today with COVID and the elections, and different things that are happening out in the world today, that this is the time for us to really see what we're looking at for 2021. What is it that we were able to, slow down and see this year around the world that we were not able to see before? I know so many people are going through different parts of the journey in their life, and they may not discuss it, of what they're actually going through or what they're processing, but I can tell you this, that everybody to some aspect is brought a level of awareness of things that they have to look at or re-examine, even if it's something as small as like, going to the gym where you took that for granted and thought the gym was always going to be there, open to, full day. And now it's like, it just got reopened in some places. And it's like, wow, oh my gosh, like the gym's open. Wow, like what did that provide me before? And, how was I looking at the gym when it was open and it was readily available at times? Was I looking at it as something that was maybe as, critical as it really is in your life? So this is the year that we're seeing these different things come into play for ourselves. It's almost like I feel that this is like a reset button of your life for you to really reevaluate what's being brought to your attention this year. Homeschooling, I know that that's been a big shift for a lot of people, because before there were certain things that you could do, or you weren't present to what was happening in your kid's life. I know for myself, it's like, drop off kids, come pick them up later, and have the day to like catch up on things, or be able to like have the freedom to do other things. Now it's very much, I've had to put it in my head that, okay, when the kids are here, I pretty much have to be intent with them all the time and not get certain aspects done. So that's really made my time when I don't have the kids intentional and not allowed to procrastinate, and really maximizing every hour that I don't have them, to be able to get the task done that I would be have 4 weeks to get done. Now I have 2 weeks to get done. How are you doing that in your life? Are you actually being more intentional of what the things that need to get done, because you're being forced to have a different set of structures in your life? Maybe before it was a lot of phone appointments, now it's Zoom appointments. How does that look different in your life? Or in-person appointments versus Zoom appointments. And what does that look like now? How is it that your life has to be restructured? So I feel that everybody's being stretched this year to really look and evaluate all areas of their life and see what is it that was working in their life. Like, what do they like, what do they don't like? I know for myself that typically every year by this time I'm very intentional of having what my goals are going to look like for the next year, so I can really do the critical thinking and make sure that all the measures are in place. But this year I've been very different, to like think it through very slowly, to see, okay, what do I really want life to look like, and what am I creating? And what is the cost going to be for those different aspects of, maybe if I'm putting more importance to one particular area, how am I not going to let the other areas of my life fall out of balance? Because that's very much something that I can go out of balance very quickly when I am being intentional, when you do have a result to get, or when you're running a business and it's results driven, and you have to make sure that you're managing so many different aspects. So I've had to take a step back for myself and really reevaluate, like, what am I looking at giving up if I'm looking at that end goal? And I feel that this is the space that everybody's being redirected to right now, before the holidays start, and before we get into that different season, because we get to create our lives by our different choices, and every choice has a direct impact of not just your life, but a lot of people's different aspects of lives that your decision making can have. And I think that as you become more conscious, as you become more aware, that you really see that your decision is really not just your decision. It has so many different layers of how it's a domino effect of what it can do for not only your present position, but also your future, of like what you're creating for the future life that you have. I know that myself, that I've always been very much a futuristic person, but that didn't help me to enjoy a lot of the present moments that I have, because I was always like creating something bigger in the future. And I see that that's not what I'm really looking to commit. So I'm trying to see, how do I balance the two, that staying very intentional of what my 5-year, 10-year goals are, but then also seeing what is it that I need to put into place to stay present. How am I going to create business in a different sense, where it's not just maybe financially fulfilling, but fulfilling in so many different aspects of my life. And now, incorporating my kids in that, that equation where maybe before I did, but not to the level that I am right now. I think that for myself, being a mom and really being able to like take that opportunity to have my kids be entrepreneurs and see what that really looks like on the front line, I feel that that's a huge advantage, and that, to have that ability for them to see it is actually such a gift, because before I would see it as like, no, I'd like them to go ahead and, focus on like other things like their, activities, or, focus with their friends, focus with other stuff. But I think this year, with the time that I've had to reflect and look at different aspects of my life, I've had to reevaluate that. I've had to reevaluate like what are the tools going to really be that are going to help them in any situation that they come across. How am I helping them to navigate through things? And I've had to explore things in a different aspect, and like do a lot of inquiry from different people that maybe I didn't inquire with before. But that's been so valuable, because it's given me so much insight of redirecting so many things in my life, especially I'd say one of the main ones is parenting, because often you try to do something very different or creative that maybe you were brought up with, or that you see different, that would be towards your family or your needs. But I think that this year, as I'm really looking at that, I'm looking and seeing how can I create it where they are able to see different aspects of frontline things that they didn't see before. And maybe I put other things ahead of that. But when I thought about it, I was like, wow, for them to be able to have this opportunity to see a lot of frontline things in an entrepreneur mindset, it would be, you know, not very prudent of me, but not very smart for me not to like have them, see that different aspect. Because at the end of the day, what I'm really seeing is that the habits that you're having, in your childhood, what's being said to you, what are the priorities that are being put into what's important and not important, are really going to shape your future. And I've been so blessed to, maybe at the past I thought it was, a different way, but I think I've really seen that, I've been blessed to see so much entrepreneurship from the front lines that I didn't even realize that I was getting to see. Because for me, I wasn't being, proactive to maybe ask a lot of questions, but I was just there, watching. And that's the biggest thing, is like a lot of times you do learn by watching. You do learn by the different conversations that are happening. But as I've had more time to reflect, I see that, wow, I'm really mimicking a lot of the dialogues that I've seen around me before. And some of them I completely left because I wanted to try something new. But then I'm like, wait, that was actually working quite well. Why did I leave that? Oh, yeah, because I was trying to see if there was another way, if there was a different way and aspect. And it's great that I got an opportunity to see that, because I feel that as a leader now, I can speak into a very different aspect of, and a different walk of people, and a different way that I can see things that I was not able to see before. But I had to take that time to really slow down and see things in a different aspect. And I feel that, especially if you're a leader, that you actually need to do that. And it doesn't matter where your team is, what you're looking at. There's so many different components to always grow and to make yourself better. So for myself, I really thought that that was going to take me the next level. What is it that you're looking at that's going to take you the next level? I know it's also been very confronting, because it's like a lot of, actually, if not all parts of my identity have been completely crumbled to like how I knew myself to be. That I was like, wow, do I still have that ability to be that person? Is that still, something that I'm able to do? And, I was questioning that, because I think that there's certain aspects of your life that's made you successful, and when you try something completely new, there may be a different set of fear that comes up. But it's like when you're redefining yourself, you're redefining your life, things have to break, for you to see the other side that maybe you weren't able to see before, or to recreate or reinvent yourself in another way. But that takes so much courage to do that, because it's very scary to let go of a lot of things that were familiar and to step in the unknown. That even myself, who has been a very high performer, results driven, that I was like, wow, can I still do that? You know, am I still that person like now? And it's it's been confronting, but I see that, yeah, you know, you're always going to be that person. There's fundamental things that, what were the habits that you were doing before, and can you reapply those habits? And maybe now it's just a simple thing of like, you know, time blocking some extra time to create that balance in your life, or seeing what was it that when you did have certain stress factors coming in your life, that how were you able to deal with them different now with whatever has happened through this year, and what have you put importance to? So I feel that right now this is a journey that we all need to discover and go within to see what is it that we're looking at for this year. What is it that you're looking at, you know, next year for this time to be like? And what is it that you're, you know, creating between now and the end of the year to really set yourself up for excellence for next year in all aspects of your life? And I think that that's true success. True success is not really just monetary, but it's like having fulfilling relationships. It's having your own fulfilled relationship with yourself first. I think that's key, because you know, if you're not fulfilled with yourself, it doesn't matter what aspects of the life that you do have working, you're gonna always think something's missing, or you're gonna point to like a career, a person, or something else, rather than realizing it's actually within you. So again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. I look forward to being able to see your guys' feedback, and pretty soon we're going to have the web page up with all the different things and offerings that if you'd like to, you know, explore things further, or you want to have it personalized, there'll be an opportunity. But until next time, we'll see you then. But until next time, we'll see you then.
Esqueçam-te o futuro, nasci de viver a chorar.